why color theory is so important. This is what I want to talk about today. So I'm going to show you a couple of different colors, how you mix them, and why it's important. So I'm going to start with kind of showing you the difference between Mars and Ivory Black. Hopefully it will show up on here in the video. So that's Mars Black. This is Ivory Black. Now I want to make sure you see this. This is bluer in tone. It creates more of a gray when you add water to it. This is redder in tone. It creates more of a brown when you add water to it. So knowing which colors you have before mixing them is super important. Here is Primary Red by Liquid X Basics. A teacher of mine told me that it's super important when you're learning how to mix colors to get this very specific set, just because you'll actually get the purest form that you can possibly get from these three. So here's my Primary Red, Primary Yellow, Primary Blue. I'm gonna put them in kind of a triangle so you can see what happens with them. And I use these all the time to create colors that I need. I've got my glass of really warm water next to me, a paper towel to wipe off my brush after every use, unless I want to keep color on there. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like when you mix equal parts red, equal parts yellow. And these are primary colors, right? You're going to want a little bit more yellow. If you notice, equal parts red, equal parts yellow makes more of a red orange. But when you have a little bit extra yellow and a little bit less red, you get a pretty good orange. If you add too much yellow, then you get your other color, your other tertiary color, which is the yellow orange. So again, primary colors can't mix anything to create these colors. They're in their purest form. Secondary color, orange, here. Now I'm going to show you green. Tiny bit of blue. Little bit more yellow. Look at that. That's your true green. Secondary green. I'm going to do our violet or purple. Red. Blue. Tiny bit more red than blue to get a good violet. And I'm going to tell you right now, violet's not going to show up very good on here, because violet color is hard to show up on cameras. Violet light is very hard to see. You'll notice sometimes even in rainbows you can't see the violet. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit of my white and mix it in so you can kind of see what a lovely lavender color that comes out as when you mix white to it. And I can pull it out with my brush to get a purer form. So now you can see it in its purest form with just water and the color. So you can see how nice that is. And again, with your primary red, you'll get a really nice pink when you mix white with it. So here you can see it kind of getting pink when I just use the water. And then when I use the white, it's even better. It's just so pretty. It's like your flower pink, carnation pink. It's perfect. You can darken it, lighten it. That's your pink. And of course, I like to use yellow to make a nice spring green. If you're gonna make it more green, make it like a yellow green. It's up to you how you do it. I wanna show you now though, just the importance of having pure colors. I'm gonna take a little bit of, this is cadmium red or medium red. Right off the bat, I don't know if the video can show you, but this is a yellowy red. So it almost looks orange. You see up here where it almost looks pink when you pull it out with water. When I pull it out with water down here, it's orange, okay? If you were to use a cadmium yellow, which is also a medium yellow, you get an orangey yellow, so it's more red in there too. So in the cadmium red, there's more yellow in it, so therefore it makes a yellowy red color. In the yellow, that's a cadmium yellow medium hue, that is going to be a little bit more of a red hue, whereas the yellow here is just perfect bright yellow. And then I'm going to show you ultramarine blue, which is a darker version of the blue. And you'll see the difference here. I need to pull the yellow out for you so you can see the difference between the yellows when the water's added to it.
Wow.
So you can see here and here. You're joining the lesson, Samuel?
Yeah.
There's primary, when you pull it out with water. Here's ultramarine, watch this.
What?
Look at the difference. Now, if you were to make purple with cadmium red and ultramarine, watch what happens. That's not the color you're looking for, right? When you're making a purple, is that the color you're looking for?
No.
No. That's not it at all. In fact, this is
Can I do it?
I'll show you can do it with me later.
No, I can't.
This makes a really good mauve or burgundy. But look at that. That's not even the correct color, purple. That's very different in hue. It's got a lot of dull in it, as opposed to this one where it's like a bright purple. Same thing with this. I mean, basically you're just making
I'm done.
a dull orange one. Okay, when you put this one in here, dull orange, which is great for pumpkins and stuff like that. But if you're trying to get pure colors, this is not what you want to use right here. The cadmium red, the cadmium yellow, medium hue, and the ultramarine, it's just, no, this is what you're getting. Then watch the green. Look at that. It's dulled down. And it's because these colors are tinted with red, with extras of the secondary colors. I mean, the primary colors. They've got the different primary colors already added to them, so it changes the color when you make them. So that's why it's important to have a pure color if you're trying to mix a pure secondary color. Now, one reason that these are so wonky is because they've got those other colors in there. So this is a yellower or red or blue. This is a reddish yellow. So red or blue, reddish yellow creates this dull green. And it's because red and green are complementary colors. So I'm going to take my primary red. Here's primary red. And then my colors are drying, so I have to remix this. Here's blue and primary yellow. Here's my green. You see this color that I just made? If I'm trying to go for a duller green, it's literally this color. But if I'm trying to go for mixing them equally, this is a brown. So this is like a brownish color that I've made here. In fact, this color is what Bob Ross would call Christmas brown. And I would usually, if I'm going to like make this specific brown, I usually would make a very like even amount of the two colors before I make this color. But there you go. That is Christmas brown right here. Red and green. Okay. Okay. And you're going to do the same thing with your violet. What's across from violet? It's yellow on the color wheel.
What?
So I'm going to take my red and my blue.
Red and blue?
Mm-hmm.
What does it make?
What does it make?
Purple.
Good job.
And what's orange and blue make?
We'll get there. Right now I'm doing purple and yellow.
Oh.
So watch what Mommy does.
No, what does it
All right,
make?
there's our violet. And again, it's really dark.
Blue.
It's still a little bit on the blue side too. I'm gonna add just a little bit more red here.
Those are good.
There we go.
As you did the round yellow.
Yeah, I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do with that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put some yellow in here. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of this so you can see what happens. Look at that. There's a...
What is it making? Green?
Yeah, it kind of looks green, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. What is it making?
It's making a brown. It's a dust, what I would call a dusty-ish brown. So if you're trying to dull down yellow to give it shadows, the best color to use is violet, and then you're going to have a really nice yellowy brown.
What about
So see the difference between Christmas and what I call violet brown or yellow brown? That's the difference. And now we're going to take blue and orange. Okay, so you said you wanted to know what blue and orange look like?
Yeah.
Well, here we go. There's some blue, and then I have to make another orange. Let's pull up a little bit of yellow.
What is it? Wait.
There's my orange. Yeah, and there's my blue. And again, this always seems to make a green first.
Green? It's making green.
Add a little bit more yellow. I mean red. To get
Mom,
that
let me
color
get
that I'm
mine.
looking for to go orange. And here is your... Okay, go potty. Your blue, orange. So as you can see, this one's a little bit more, I guess I would say like a wheaty kind of color. This one is more of like a golden dusty color, which is so hard to see on this camera. There is a difference. And then our Christmas brown. So I'll label it for you. Okay, so those. Now, have you ever been mixing colors on accident and you realized you ended up with a weird muddy color that you weren't expecting? One of the ones I get the most is somebody's going to be making a sky with black. And they're like, oh, you know, I want to put some stars in this sky. So instead of doing white or making them look white, I'm going to use yellow. And that's going to be really fun. And what color does this make? I've had people come up to me and say, why is my sky green? And why it is because you're using one of these colors. when you have to make black, and it takes a very long time, I'm not going to even sit here and do it. You have to take the primary colors and just mix and mix and mix until you get to this. And it has to be in the purest form. But basically, again, this one's more of a red black and this one's more of a blue black. And because I use the blue black, which is, you know, helping to create this color, the blue comes out when you put the yellow in it. And it creates this green, wonderful moss green. Like, it's lovely. If you want to do a forest, that right there is your color. Another one I get is this, you know, mauve, like when you're trying to mix red and blue, but you get the wrong color blue. Like I showed you before, you get up, like, you're like, what is this color? This isn't the color I was looking for. Here's like a burgundy color, which is nice. Then you add more blue to it because you're like, that's not the color I wanted. And then you end up with a darker, like, color that's almost mauve. And that's just because those colors weren't pure and you ended up with a color you weren't expecting. So that's why color theory is so important. In the end, if you know how to mix these colors, you're able to mix anything. So I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible because this video is already 16 minutes long. But here's my red. Here's my yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of blue. And I'm going to add a little bit of white. Still a little bit off. This takes time, so that's why I said for this video it might be a little hard to get it just so. But if you're trying to mix skin tone, this is how you do it. You sit here and you just use your red, and that's close. When it dries, it'll be a little bit darker. It's still not my skin tone, but it's close. So because of time, I'm not going to sit here and do this forever, but there's how you get skin. And if you want to darken it up, you use the darker form of the colors to make your brown, and then the lighter colors are your highlights. So that's how you do a good skin tone right here. If I was making a darker skin tone, that's how I would do it, is make it nice and dark. And then you can also add the black to, you know, make the value darker and darken up your brown for the darkest color skins. So right there, that's how you do it.